Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi, directed by Rian Johnson and starring all of your favourite actors from the first movie. This film picks up right where the last one left us, with Leia, Poe and Finn hiding away with the last remnants of the Resistance and trying to escape the clutches of the First Order, while Rey is spending quality time with our favourite Skywalker on top of a cliff. And straight from the get-go we go right into all the action. We've already met all the characters, so there's no need to introduce anyone. With this movie you get exactly what you expect from a Star Wars movie, with space battles and lightsabers and crazy action and drama and some funny moments. The performances by all the actors are great in this film. Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac all do a great job in their characters once again. Just like in The Force Awakens, you get a little bit more from Poe this time around, which is great because we didn't get much of him last time. We get to see a little bit more about Rey. We get to see her interact with Luke. Speaking of the old actors, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill both get a much bigger role in this movie. Mark Hamill actually has dialogue in this film this time. Carrie Fisher, she had loads to say, she had loads to do. This was a great send-off for the actress who unfortunately passed away last year. The runaway performance for me though was Mark Hamill and his portrayal of Luke in this film. He does something completely different that we've ever seen from Luke Skywalker or any other Star Wars movie really. This is a tortured Luke. This is not the same Luke that we met all those years ago. This is a completely different Luke. There's a reason why he's on this desert island and why he's ran away from the whole world and why he's in hiding, and in this film we get to find out. We get to delve a little bit deeper. Rian Johnson and Mark Hamill put a lot of layers into the character, and it goes into areas that you probably don't even really expect. And that can be said about the movie as a whole really. There's layers to the film and it kind of goes to areas that other Star Wars movies haven't before, emotionally speaking. All these characters, they feel really real, they feel really raw. They're all deep, they've all got their own agendas, they've all got something they're fighting for. But at the same time you can see all of their flaws and they're all out there on display. They really make you care for these characters, and that's when they get you. What this movie does really well is it makes you feel like none of the characters are safe. It reminded me of Game of Thrones in a way, where you can't take anyone's life for granted, and it feels like Mark Hamill could die, Daisy Ridley could die, John Boyega could die, they could all die. But it's not all bleak. The movie is very funny. There are loads of comedy bits thrown in, but it's not like the prequel trilogy comedy where it's really stupid comedy. It's comedy used really well, and the performances, and it's delivered really well. And this is really where you can feel Rian Johnson's work. Speaking of which, this whole film feels like it was done by one person, and it feels like it's something different. You can really tell that Rian Johnson has put a lot of himself into this film. The props and set design people, once again, have done something amazing by taking the 1970s, 1980s sci-fi space look and modernising it and not turning it tacky or anything like that. It still feels like the original trilogies. It still feels like these places and ships could fit very well into the original trilogy. But at the same time, it still feels new and fresh. Same goes for the creature design. The fact that they can use real props and CGI and it's all blended in together is really great, and it kind of sells the experience more than if it was just plain CGI. If you're worried about the porgs, the little penguin creature in Chewie's ship in the trailer, then rest assured that absolutely nothing wrong with them. In fact, what they did with them was really quite good. In fact, I dare you not to fall in love with these things. Looking at the stuff I didn't like, there wasn't many, but a couple of things. So first of all, there's a sequence with some characters that feels very out of place in the film, and it kind of feels like a different movie forced into this one. It kind of takes you away from the action for a bit, and I understand that it's maybe they thought that it would be a moment to give some breathing space for the viewer, but actually it just ended up kind of hurting the pacing a little bit. This whole sequence just feels like it's from a different movie altogether. Unnecessary, and I feel like they could have gotten to the point much faster. Didn't get much of Phasma. Again, she was underutilized, same as in The Force Awakens. This isn't some grand return for her, unfortunately. Similarly, Snoke, he is in this movie, and what Andy Serkis does with the character is amazing, and the delivery that he delivers is great. He really makes himself stand out in the film, but we just didn't get to see enough of him, I don't think. I wish we saw more. In the end, Rian Johnson jumped into a universe with all this lore and 7 preceding movies plus Rogue One, and he had to kind of make his mark, and I think he really did that. I think he achieved a great movie on par with The Force Awakens for me, Rian Johnson's already signed up to do 3 other Star Wars movies, not in this series, but a different situation altogether. Looper was a great success, Star Wars Episode 8 is a great success, and I think Rian Johnson can be trusted with the Star Wars universe. I loved this movie, all the performances were great, the directing was great, the visuals were stunning, space battles were amazing, lightsaber battles didn't look fake, overly choreographed. Well done all around.
This is a tasty burger.
Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.